Rebecca of Studio Plum.
And I'm Sean of Renstead Interiors. We're interior designers
Turned internet friends.
turned real life friends.
Welcome to the Hot Young Designers Club podcast.
We're not that hot.
Or that young.
Every week, we'll be spilling the tea on how a new generation of interior designers can run their businesses.
Welcome to the club.
Hi, Sean.
What's up, Rebecca?
We're gonna be like Dear Abby or like Emily Posts of designers today.
This is the advice column.
Yeah.
Hold on, I had to think. Okay, I'm sorry. That might be a shift. I had to think for a second of like, wait, Dear Abby, like.
Yeah, like the advice column. I'm aging myself.
What's like the current?
Not that hot or that young.
Wait, what would be the current advice column? Is it like Reddit? Is it Slate articles? I don't know what it is. Like,
I don't know what current, like I don't know what's the Adam Carolla one, but that's also not current.
That's also not current. Loveline?
Love
Are you talking
Line.
about Loveline? Oh my god. Okay, throwback.
We can edit this.
Yeah, I had to like sneakily listen to that because
it
I
was
was like
nasty.
a teenager.
Yeah. That was like the only place you could like get any kind of like
Real
alternative
answers.
information or
That was sex ed for the kids whose parents were too like uptight or conservative or awkward to talk to their kids about anything.
But even like, no, where would you get answers as a young gay teenager? Like there was nowhere to find that.
Even like
if your parents wouldn't even have the answers, you know?
It's the stupid questions about like, can I get pregnant from a toilet seat was the stupid type of stuff that was in there too, which was like, well, someone needs to ask so we can put those stupid urban legends to bed. Like,
but I think what was beautiful about it and something that hopefully we'll be taking forward, and maybe that's the connection here, is there's no judgment. Well,
this is a safe space.
Some judgment, but it is still a safe space. And we want to all move forward.
Exactly. Yeah, I like that.
No shame, but a little judgment.
It's a the more you know of of design.
Should we just get into it?
Oh yeah, rip the Band-Aid. I'm a rip the Band-Aid off type of situation.
So today it's not exactly a just stop, because we wanted to also make sure we were saying
just starting something.
Yeah, just start. So it's a don't and do.
Exactly.
Because we're not just negative shit talkers.
Not all the time.
Not publicly with a microphone. Okay, yeah. So this is just these are notes we've been jotting down over the years, things that we just are always annoyed by, but also it's not helpful to just be annoyed.
No. Like we want to see change and growth. And then also some of this is state of mind shifting, which I think there's a lot of things going on in the design industry that we almost all universally agree are not like healthy or good practices, but somehow they keep going. And so maybe we'll catch a few of those with this and start. I'm not saying we're starting a revolution here, but if we could just get more designers on board with this, eventually the effect starts to multiply. So we should start with our first one.
We're starting a revolution. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So don't ever make your social posts look like you did the work if you didn't.
And we have touched on this quite a bit. Like this idea of what are we supposed to do then? If you are going to share another designer's photography, do give them credit where credit is due. Credit the designer, credit the architect, the photographer, everybody. Put the credits up front, not buried in the bottom of the post at the very end or just in some tags.
The worst is those like shady corner tags that are like piled on top of each other.
So you never know who really did it. Yeah. If you're gonna do that, you've got to put it all out there. Make sure it's really clear and evident, because that designer puts so much hard work into those projects, and the photographer and the architects and the landscape designers, like everybody puts so much into those.
And I know there's a lot of people that don't have huge portfolios yet that rely on inspiration and mood photography.
Yes.
We've talked about this. I personally have never done that. And I just personally don't love that for me. But I share in stories, but not like on my feed. So that doesn't look like a history log of my work. But I know some people feel differently, and you may feel like you have to, but just, yeah, be really clear. You are inspired by this. This is not your work.
Right.
This also kind of dips in a little bit to, like, if you're ever on a job with another professional, maybe it's a landscape designer, or maybe it's a contractor with a really big following. I don't know. But I think
or even with a small following.
Well, sure. With the following. Some don't have any.
Some are invisible
Representation on social media, most probably. But I think there's sometimes, like, I know this happened with a friend with a landscape designer recently, and there's a little bit of overlap on their services. So
right.
One thing, you need to make it clear in your contract and stuff offline, but when that project comes to fruition and it's time to show portfolio work, celebrate the pieces that everybody did. Like, there's no harm in making it a bigger collaboration project.
Yeah, I think everyone's work, if it's so weird, because it's that idea of, you are going to have to tell clients what part you did, because there's going to be confusion, like, oh, you did the landscape design. It's like, oh no, actually we did the
Lighting,
the furnishings, and we worked on the materials. Like, that's not, I don't see that as a shortcoming of you as a designer if you didn't.
No.
It's saying, like, we relied on the expertise provided by this partner in that project, and the results were even better.
I guess an even better example would be an architect designer. Like, we are collaborating a lot, and ideas are being shared and passed around. So it
doesn't belong to just one of us anymore.
No. So I don't know. I just think that's just really important to just be upfront about, if you can, and have a good relationship with everybody, like, celebrate it. Really, like, it's a way to grow everyone's platforms too, because that's, social media should be social.
And they want to share their stuff too. I'm always shocked, like, when I randomly tag the contractor or the architect or something, like, they're even more looking for content often than we are. Like, they are so excited to have us walking through something, sharing something, tagging something like that. It just pays off in heaps to us to have their goodwill back too. Like,
and if you are a contractor, don't forget to tag the designer, and don't put this on your website like you were a design build all by your little self.
Oh my God. Because we know that's not
happens.
True. Yes. Oh, it happens. Yes, it happens. But definitely, it's like, let's give out the good karma to everybody.
Yeah. Good juju for all.
Yes. Okay. Number 2, don't pop into DMs and expect other professionals to give you their design sources or their vendors.
Yeah. So this is, what's that paint color? Where'd you get that? We've never spoken before.
Chairs ?
And then shit dog in the comments that they never answer.
No one answered me about that wallpaper.
So rude. So let's remember that their clients paid them for the work, hours and hours of work. And if they don't know you, they don't owe you.
Boom. Put it on a t-shirt.
I don't do that just because I think it's kind of rude. But I also don't mind if somebody that I know and have talked to a lot, or they're really, like, being friendly and hopeful about it. Like, I don't mind answering sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's about, if you've already built connections and relationships with other designers and you sort of have a level of trust, you're very likely to get somewhere with them when you're like, hey, I really love those chairs. Do you mind sharing where those are from? It's just that I don't know you. I literally had to approve your message request because we've never messaged before, and you have the audacity to ask me about something. And it's like, you just started following me yesterday only so you could send this message. Like, no. And it's not just me, it's many designers have shared this experience of like, why would I share something with someone who's never had the politeness, the
It's
manners?
politeness. I think it's a lot of this has to do with respect and just intent and approach. Like, if you're
just because we're all designers doesn't mean we owe each other something.
Well, you don't just like go to somebody's house and bang down their door and ask them stuff like
dinner ?
Like this. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't eat beef. Do you have a chicken option?
Versus if you have a really great relationship and you talk to someone every day, like I can just like go into your laundry door and say, hey, let's have coffee. Do you have time? Like, okay, maybe
I have those designer relationships where I will go, oh my God, that I will even just be like, oh my God, the textiles on that bed were fantastic. And they'll be like, oh my God, right? And then they just say the name because when they love it and they already have a rapport and they thought it was fantastic, they're probably going to share it anyway. Like they want other people to know.
Right. And it just depends. Like if somebody says they like my shoes, I'm instantly going to tell you where I got them and where I got them on sale. Like that's just how I am, but don't expect that from everybody.
Don't expect it.
And don't be rude. Like just don't be rude. I guess if somebody was rude and asked me where I got the shoes, shoes,
question mark.
Then I might not.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't expect professionals to give you their time so you can pick their brain.
Oh man,
this is a big one.
This one is rough because I like philosophically know that most of us, and you and I included, and so many of our other like friends of the OG hotties out here, like we firmly believe in the value of connections in our community. But if you are still building a connection with someone, do ask to pay for a consultation hour or find out if they offer something like peer-to-peer mentorship, if it makes sense.
And they may say no, and you're not going to be mad about it.
Yeah.
I used to do this a lot in my early days of my career because I made a huge leap in my job. I had a big community in Sacramento and I had a lot of coffee dates that year. And I actually really loved it because I needed it too. I felt like cut loose and not sure where I stood in my community. So I made a lot of close relationships that way. So in that way, I guess we were a little bit equal. There was some equity.
Mm-hmm.
But now that most of us are probably busy. Most of us know what our hour is worth. There's an actual dollar amount tied to it. That
like time is money, literally.
Literally. So to ask somebody to just give you free advice, it doesn't come off that well. Some designers get pissed about it. Like I've seen some tirades on the other side that I don't necessarily agree with either, but
yeah, some of the reaction doesn't match the infraction.
Wow, we're just rhyme time today. Yeah, so I don't know if we've talked about this. I actually added that onto my hourly virtual consultation. I added that as one of the things that we can do. So if anyone wanted to pick my brain, you can book a virtual consultation with me.
Yeah.
Sure, Sean would do it too.
I've seen a few designers talk about that on their expert sessions.
Right.
That it's just like, if you just want to talk about the world of design and the career in design or whatever, like, cool. The time is booked. You paid me for it. Let's sit down and talk. Like
whatever value you can get. Yeah. So that's a really easy way. So I have a few professionals in this industry or other industry that I'm curious about, something that they have expertise on, and I will ask, like, can I pay you for an hour of your time so I can pick your brain? Like,
It's
that's just
all,
a transaction that feels very easy.
we all have very limited bandwidth. So it's got to be something that has, I don't want to make it about like, oh,
Tit for tat.
tit for tat, but it is a little bit about, okay, great. Like a mentorship is not, it's not a two-way street. Like it very definitely benefits the mentee a lot more than the mentor. Like there's not a lot of what's in it for me if you're the one who's having their brain picked. Like,
yes, people that
it's
have
a hard sell.
And I hope to get to a point again where I can have more formal mentorships, and that would be my way of giving back. Like it's, more of like a charitable donation in a way. And I do think there is value in doing that, but it has to be set up that
100%.
way and in agreement.
Yes. So all of that is to say, don't be afraid to make friends with other designers.
Yeah, we're not saying you can't sit with us. Like we're not trying to be like that about it. So in comparison, say hi when you see someone in real life. I think that's super important to make real people connections. This happens a lot at market. We have actual friends that we have met from market, from people just saying hi. We recognize you from the podcast.
Yeah. It happened to me at a Bedrosian's.
Oh yeah.
Shout out Allie.
Shout out Allie.
Like if you see us and we're out somewhere and we're going to be somewhere at the same time, like don't just lurk in the background, like do the Surha slide, say what's up, where are you going to be, are any chance you're going to a happy hour, or are you going to be at a certain showroom? I'd love to just swing by and say hello. Like it's been a really great, rewarding relationship to meet people in person, and it really does help build this like environment where we can bounce ideas very quickly with each other and be like, oh, what did you think of this, what did you think of that? It's so much different when you're in person sharing your thoughts and your challenges with each other.
And I think that's what's great about market, is because we've already earmarked that time. Like no one's trying to bill for clients right then. Like we're out and about. We've deemed this, market time, which includes some social activity. Yes. So that you're already in the zone. We're at a cocktail party. Like let's chat. Let's do it. That's a great time to do it. So don't be shy. We love it. People always approach us. Oh, I'm so nervous fangirling. That's not, you don't need to be nervous. We're not.
Don't need to do that.
We're going to be weird. Oh, I can be kind of awkward in person.
And I'm on the opposite end where Rebecca's Sean's been talking to those people for 3 hours. So I'm just going to go back to the hotel. And then it's like 4 hours later and I'm still there.
Oh my God. Yeah. So many times we just leave. We just walk away. Like you like to chat. Okay.
You guys know that I am easily cornered. Like
no, you cannot say goodbye. Like you can't say goodbye. You're like my brother. Like literally I have to go bye. Hang up the phone.
I love you. Bye. I love you. Bye.
But okay, so I'm not trying to be shady about that. I'm awkward because I'm like kind of a shy person. I will never make you feel uncomfortable, I hope. So please
reframe the idea of competitors.
Yes.
Like we all have different things to offer. There's work for everyone. Make friends with other designers.
Yeah, and that's not just about us. Yeah, if you recognize somebody from Instagram, please go say hi. Like
it's sort of like the playground rules of like, oh, if you want to do something, why don't you ask them to play? Like kids who are like, oh, I don't know, no one will play with me. It's like, well, have you offered to play with anyone else? What if everyone's just standing around scared to dance? Like You
Exactly.
need to
Or
ask
like,
someone.
I feel old again, but like, I never get any letters in the mail. Well, do you ever write any letters? Like, you have
Yeah,
to like be a good pen pal to get good pen pals.
there you go.
So make real life friends. We say this all the time. Sean and I are only friends because of Instagram, and we knew we were both going to market at the same time.
Yep. It's
But
like a missed connection personals ad.
make sure you have an out because you might
They
not
might be a
like it.
weirdo.
Like Sean really like barely gave me any commitment, but we worked it out. We latched on.
It's like, I don't know, we're gonna be there for a little bit. And
Like, how
maybe
about
the
we'll
next
meet for
day.
7 minutes?
No, I don't remember that. I need to
No,
roll
I'm
back
just
those
kidding.
DMs.
No, we
back
didn't. We
to
didn't.
January 2020.
Well, what we did do, I think we've probably said this before, is we DM'd and then we decided to have a Zoom date to like make sure
Pre-screen each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of conversation will we actually have in person? Because that was before you showed your face on Instagram.
Yeah, I really wasn't doing much at all.
So I kind of was like, you need to get your face out there. I don't even know what you look like.
That might be the other do for designers is like, you got to let people find out who you are.
Well,
like,
that's true. They won't recognize you.
They're not going to know who you are if you don't put anything online. Like every other designer is like, who is this person? Are they even half the profiles who DM me who I like have trouble communicating with are they're designers, but like they're messaging from personal accounts that have private profiles with no information. So it's
no
like
names.
I'm not going to be friends with someone else who's like a secret personality. So if you want people to be friendly with you, you got to give them a little bit of some background search that they can do. Like they got to find something.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point because if we hadn't actually DM'd, I wouldn't have recognized you in the wild because at the time you weren't doing your cute little reels and stuff. Like that was pre
one room challenge like was what got me to start showing more.
That's
like,
how we met.
Get past that hurdle was, I'm gonna get on some stories and talk. And now I do like pre-screen people, like what are they sharing? Who are they? What's out there? And I think in a very similar way, not that we had to go down this whole path, but clients do that too. So it's not just about relationships with other designers. It's also like people want to know who the heck it is that they're going to work with and what it's going to be like. So the more that's out there, the easier it is for them to make that decision. Like,
and you decide what's out there. But I strongly believe you've got to show your face. I don't care what you look like.
Agreed.
I don't care what you think you look like. I've always kept the bar really low in that department so that I never feel like I have to get my glam on to show up on stories because I don't. Yeah. And it doesn't matter. Like I'm a human. If I'm working on my house and I'm painting a room and I'm talking to you, I am not going to look cute doing it.
100%.
I'm not Julia Markham because somehow she manages to always look done.
She's like, okay, guys, let me know when the set is ready. Okay, action.
No, I mean,
painting.
no shade. No shade. I mean, she probably gets up and does her makeup. I do not.
She has the whole glam squad before she goes and starts painting.
But if you want to do your makeup, do your makeup. It doesn't matter. Do you be like, let people know you. So that's that. That's our little next session.
It's kind of in a good way here, talking about, speaking of other designers, don't copy other designers' work. And maybe it's time for you to shut off your Pinterest and your Instagram a little bit.
I think we all need to feel confident that our point of view is unique and important. If you like color and you're not designing with color, why? Your audience will find you. You should feel like you can push yourself creatively and make your own little niche. I don't know. There's some aesthetics that have taken over our industry. I think we've talked about this, but like I used to feel this weird amount of shame around not liking
things that aren't in like
the
popular bubble.
And more of that is coming out. Like I think more of what I'm also finding my people and my aesthetic mentors, I guess, but still, like, I have to put my own spin on it.
Yeah, the stuff that's popular, that's really done that, it's beautiful, but I would be really sad to be a creative person and a designer doing that same stuff for the rest of my career. Like, that just does not sound like my fantasy for my design journey. Like, who I want to be, what I want to put out there. Like, it would be really depressing to be doing the same stuff for 30 years.
Yeah, like I've talked to designers that work in firms with, larger teams, and
Yeah.
like the firm I'm thinking of has a very specific aesthetic that they are known for, and that's where the clients come for. They don't come for something that looks completely different. They don't come for thinking out of the box. They come for that aesthetics that this firm does very well. And I've talked to designers in that situation, and they're like, there is no breaking out of it. Like, they're stuck now. And that
it might be paying bills, but it's not creating. I feel like many of our
creating thrills.
Pays the bills, but doesn't give you thrills. And that's a problem, because I know that many of our listeners are independent or small firm designers who are trying to do different things and like got into this to do something that is their own. And it can still be your own business, but if you are creating what other designers are creating, and like literally the whole source list is the same and every room could look like their room, that's not always your own anymore. Like, philosophically, it's not always yours anymore. It's like a carbon copy.
Yeah, and there's some copyright issues sometimes.
some intellectual property problems created by that. Like, I just feel like there is so much room for us to expand and to do more and to challenge ourselves to stop looking at everyone else and, do really, like, do you. I don't know another way to say it. It's just find new influences.
That's what I was thinking. Like, if I get stuck and I feel like I'm too heavily influenced by a certain Instagram account or Pinterest or whatever, that's when I pull out like vintage stuff, or like, my vintage architectural digest from the 70s. Like, what is different about this?
What's one thing you would save?
Yeah. And and it always sparks a new idea, maybe completely unrelated to what I'm looking at, but I don't know. I just think first and foremost, I think we're all creatives and we got to create, not copy.
It's a trap of creating the same thing just because it's easy. And it really does take a lot of time and energy to find new ideas and to formulate them. And
trends are like really hard to see sometimes. This happened in graphic design. This is just like a straight up creative industry thing.
Yes.
Like, you don't know. Like, I had a client yesterday at one of our power hour sessions asking, like, is brass a trend? I'm like, yeah, probably. Like, are you going to love it in 30 years? I don't know. Maybe.
Interesting.
But it's so hard. It's like a invisible gas that we can't see. It's like
it's poisoning us.
Not a stinky gas, but like oxygen. Like, you don't know. Like, it's just in the room. It's in the zeitgeist. We're so influenced. Like, okay, so don't you look at things from, like, I look at things from like my last house 8 years ago.
Okay.
It doesn't feel that long ago. And look at it and I'm like, oh my God, that was a trend.
I get I have some things that I'm embarrassed by now because I'm like, I wish I had known better. But like, truly, that's part of the learning experience. Like, every designer is going to go through some of that to some degree. But I also feel like I look back and I was like, oh God, like the West Elm of it all was taking over my brain. Like I had like a little parasite in my head, and we were all just creating the same things.
But it's all you knew.
Over.
It's all you knew. So that's where you like push yourself to just get new influences, whether it's old books, magazines, really crazy different accounts that you never would have thought of. So
yeah, I feel like I feel like now I'm kind of like an old man of design, because I'll bring up other designers or architects or people, and like Monica's on my team as our studio assistant, and she'll be like, who? Like I said Nate Berkus, and she was like, who? And I was like, what? Like my head exploded, and they were cleaning it off the walls. And then I had to give like a little history lesson of that, and like how Oprah pretty much made his career. And it was like,
Oprah,
this is shocking. Who? The woman who interviewed the Markles?
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't know who Oprah is because she doesn't have a show anymore.
She doesn't have a show anymore. So it's like, that's where there's so much out there for us to pull from, and we've forgotten about it. And why are we just paying attention to like two designers who are doing the same stuff over and over and over?
Because they have millions of followers.
I'm just saying.
I mean, if you just want to get rich, then do a formula and call it a day.
I mean, and I'll say, even with that, they ain't no guarantee you're gonna be rich. Like,
no, because you probably are too late.
You already missed it. You need the next thing. You need the next idea.
Like, yeah, because trying to be like Joanna Gaines, that's too late. She's already moved on. You already
missed it.
She's already moved on.
She's already making her next millions. Like, you don't want to be trying to eat the crumbs off of her first millions.
Eat the crumbs off her shiplap walls.
Crummy shiplap? What?
Okay, so we just hope this is more encouraging. A little check yourself before you wreck yourself. I don't know why we're rhyming so much today. Maybe because we're recording on a Saturday.
A little punchy on a Saturday, like getting it out there. But also it's this idea, like, we can do it. It's all possible. It's just not easy stuff to do. Like, yeah, it takes a little more work and a little more effort, but the payoff is so worth it.
It is. It better be.
I mean, we're how many years in on this with us, and it's still working. More than two. Like 2.5.
2, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Anyway, thanks for waxing poetic with us, designers.
Rhyming poetic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Until next time.
Stay hot, designers.
Thanks for joining this meeting of the Hot Young Designers Club podcast.
If you liked what you heard, please subscribe and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Check out the show notes there for links to things we talked about today.
We are keeping the conversation going on Instagram, so don't forget to like, comment, and follow at Hot Young Designers Club.
You can find Rebecca on Instagram at Studio Plum.
And you can find Sean at Renstead Interiors. That's WRENSTED.
Ja Rule. Whatever happened to him?
He got canceled after the Fire Festival.
But the Fire Festival wasn't his fault, though. Like, the fact that was a
founder.
Mess. Wait, he was the one who knew about all the stuff going wrong, though? I feel like it was the white guy. It's always a white guy.